The new EIDL grant applications did not go live last night as we expected. Why not? I'm going to talk about some possibilities, what we can expect today and this week, and I'm going to talk about the 3 possible scenarios for you if you've received no EIDL grant to date, if you've received a partial EIDL grant, or if you've already received the full 10K. What are you eligible for now? Hey everyone, this is Ryder from Skip. It's Monday, January 11th. I hope you're doing well and you had a great weekend. A very quick update on the EIDL grant process and what happened last night. We were live blogging on the app all night until around midnight Pacific time, and this was under the EIDL grant. Under more info, we were expecting something to happen because that's what happened back in March. But we were covering this all night long. Of course, we expected a quote dump from the SBA around midnight Eastern time because that's what happened on March 29th. And today is the 15-day mark. Anyway, we were watching and covering. Strangely enough, the SBA did issue a late night press release, but it was not about EIDL grants. Here's how it looked here. It was basically a 2-paragraph message from Javita Carranza talking about how they would work expeditiously, here we go, to implement the newly enacted assistance, basically to help people with their loan payments and be more flexible. Anyway, so that was more about the SBA loans. So that was posted late in the night, but other than that, there was no news, and there's been no news this morning. We continue to check about the latest. And there are a couple of rumors that we've seen, well, it's going to be next week. However, we have seen no official announcements from the government. That's my biggest stress here. Information is so important, so you need to go with a trusted source. We get all of our information and data directly from government sources. Want to keep that in mind. We may hear more today. We are still watching this and we are going to keep you posted. We are also posting updates on our Twitter and Instagram as well, so feel free if you want to check all your boxes, you can follow us there. But brief update before I get into who qualifies. Of course, no progress on the grant tracker. This is what we're watching right now. You can see if you qualify for the low income provision. We don't know the full details there yet. In stimulus news, around 7% of people have received their second stimulus check. In PPP news, certain lenders today start accepting new applications. Basically, if you are a community lender, you can start accepting first-time applicants today. If you are a community lender, you can start accepting second-time applications on Wednesday. We have partner links. We are going to link to these very soon. Again, if you click apply for PPP, we basically give you an update on what's happening. They are open yet for some people, but not for the majority of you. So we will update this later today as well. And finally, vaccine news. Still 7 million people have been vaccinated. We expect this number to update later today. Typically, the CDC after the weekend will update on Monday. So maybe this will go up to 8 million today. Again, you can go to trackeidlgrant.com to get this app. It's also Hello Skip in the App Store. All the links are right in the description. And I want to say, what questions do you still have about the EIDL progress? So as we know from the legislation, today is day 15 and the SBA has 15 days to make the rules and to make them public. So we'll see. Maybe they got some waiver here. We don't know. Or maybe they found a loophole that they can take their time and wait a few more days. We don't know. But I want to talk about the order of processing and the main questions we've been getting from you. Again, so many of you are asking questions. Yesterday I went over who's eligible, who qualifies for being targeted, who qualifies for emergency, and why the timing is so important because there are limited funds. Again, we expect only 2 million businesses will be able to get the full 10K, and maybe around 5 million will be able to get a part of the advance because that was similar to the first go around. And since we posted yesterday's video, we've had lots of questions, so I wanted to address those right now. Can I get a second advance? Likely no, based on the legislation, but we are awaiting final rules. This is assuming that the 1,000 per employee rule stays in place. Can I top up to 10K? That's a very similar question. Based on everything we know, the maximum you can get is $10,000. So maybe if you are in the low-income community provision, you might be able to top up to the full 10K. Otherwise, the legislation doesn't seem like you will be able to top up. What if you already got the 10K? Based on legislation, it appears your advance opportunity is over. Will there be a new application to fill out? All indications point to yes, and I'm going to show you some important piece of the legislation in a minute. But bottom line, this will be necessary for the SBA to understand who is still interested and who would qualify to get that amount. There are 3 basic scenarios right now, okay? And we're going to put this on the app, by the way. But let's say you fall in this camp. you didn't receive any grant last time due to they ran out of funding, or you didn't check the EIDL advance box, or some other reason, okay? There were a handful of reasons. These were the main two. They ran out of funding or you didn't check the box. We hope that you will be given priority in the new application process, and the law says that you will be given priority. So here's the law, order of processing. Here we go. Second priority to covered entities that have not received emergency grants because of the unavailability of funding to carry out such Section 110. So basically, you should be at the top of the queue. If they ran out of funding and they couldn't give it to you, but you're eligible, then you should get your EIDL grant. The question still remains which bucket you might fall in, the full 10K low-income provision and how the SBA will interpret that, or if you will just be eligible for 1K per employee. We don't know, and no one knows that yet. The second scenario, if you received a partial grant last time, 1, 2, 5K, whatever the case may be, but less than 10K, can you top up? That's the question. Well, if low income provision, that seems the likely scenario that you would be able to top up because the law explicitly says you are eligible for the full 10K. In terms of the other bucket of funding, we don't know yet. Finally, if you did receive the full 10K last time, it is likely that you will not be eligible for any additional funding. As far as I can tell, in all of the legislation, there was not a new provision for more funding for you. The caveat, here's the caveat. Again, none of this is legal or tax advice, so you should look at this yourselves. But unless you have another business, you may be able to qualify. Now, the EIDL grants were largely given out based on your Social Security number and a credit check. So it is unclear if you will be able to apply with a second or third business this go around, and if that's appropriate, and if you're allowed to do that. Okay, here's some more data. We're also going to post this on our blog and on the app. Many of you haven't seen this. The total advances dispersed in the first go-around were 5.7 million. That's a lot. And each state had a various amount of approvals and dollars. And what was interesting was, depending on the state you were in, number one, there was often a very different average EIDL advance amount. Number two, and more importantly, depending on your state, there was a variation between the percentage of eligible businesses that actually got advances. And the New York Times did a big piece on this earlier in the year, but it's worth mentioning now as millions and millions of you are going to fight to get advances. There was discrepancy the first go around. Now, some of the discrepancy could be explained because people in certain states may not have known about the program. So therefore, if you didn't apply, you obviously wouldn't get the advance. So that's the natural bias in looking at that data. We're going to post it on our blog anyway, and I will leave the link in the description because it's interesting to see. You can check out your state and see, okay, in New Mexico or in New York or North Carolina, what percentage of small businesses actually received an advance. That might give you some peace of mind. Okay, I don't feel so bad because 98% of businesses didn't receive anything, so I'm not alone, etc. Finally, we'll continue to update here as things develop. We are awaiting guidance. No action needed yet. Of course, take the time to fill out these other trackers. They're all very important and it's free. Thanks as always for everyone supporting our app. It means so much to us, and for sharing with a friend. Oh my gosh, we saw thousands of you share with friends yesterday and they downloaded the app. So big shout out to all of you, and I know your friends will appreciate it if you can help them get $10,000 or more. Thanks as always for subscribing. Stay well, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow.